Well, welcome back, everybody. During the break, Kimberly was working with Ken Johnson to see if we could get the technical issues ironed out. What we're going to do is we're going to proceed with the councillor candidates. And then at the end, if Ken is able to join us, we will give him time to be the last speaker, if you will, of the evening. So now we're going to move into the councillor candidates. The candidates for the office of city councillor are split into 3 groups and will be assigned speaking order based on alphabetical order. In alphabetical order, each candidate for city councillor will be given 45 seconds to introduce themselves and outline their platform and priorities. Then afterwards, each candidate for council will be given 2 additional 45-second time slots to present their platform plan in the areas outlined below. Again, speaking order will be based on alphabetical order. The 2 questions that we're going to be asking the councillors to answer tonight, or potential councillors, is on economic development, how the candidate intends to retain existing residents and businesses, and their plans to attract new ones to the city of Red Deer. So we're going to give everybody a 45-second shot at that in the first, and then in the second group afterwards, and then the third. But we're going to go with the first group first. And the second question is crime and social disorder. Please outline your strategy to deal with ongoing social issues and how you will make Red Deer a more attractive place to live, work, and play. Again, no candidate will be allowed more than 45 seconds. And if I do, please, all candidates, please follow that little bar at the top of your screen, and please respect the 45 seconds. So we're going to now start off with excuse me, the first group of councillors, first group of 9. And the first person I'm going to ask to make their opening comment is Graham Barkley. Graham, please unmute and go for your 45-second introduction.
Good evening, and thank you to the Chamber staff for putting this together. I'm looking to be a new face on City Council. With over 30 years of business experience and 15 years of experience as a director and chairman of nonprofits, I am ready for the position and will be able to hit the ground running and get to work to improve our city. I will be improving our relationship with our neighbors in the province while advocating for increased financial assistance and expediency for health facilities, social services, and new projects. Our downtown will be improved with many projects, changes, and community assistance. I plan to make sure the citizens get value for their tax money and watch the budget numbers closely during this upcoming winter budget and future years. Let's move Red Deer forward and together and vote Graham Barkley.
Thanks, Graham. Next up is Kramer Barnstable. Hope I got that right, Kramer.
Yeah, Kramer Barnstable. Perfect. Thanks, Ken. Thanks again to the Red Deer Chamber of Commerce. So my name is Kramer Barnstable. I came to Red Deer in 2009 to play for the Red Deer Rebels. The city immediately captured my heart, and it's somewhere where I knew I wanted to be in my future. I was born and raised on a farm in Saskatchewan, and my family moved to Vancouver when I was 13 years old. So I've seen all ends of the spectrum, and I believe Red Deer is an amazing city with the perfect size to help grow our community, but also help push businesses forward. I'd like to talk more about my platform, but I don't have a whole lot of time. So I just would like to direct you towards my website, kramerbarnstable.rdcouncil.com, for any questions. And just thanks again for being included in this. I really just want to make sure the city is going in the right direction. Thank you again.
Thanks, Kramer. Next up is Bruce Baruma. Bruce, are you unmuted?
There we go.
Oh, there we go.
Hi, I'm Bruce Burma, and I believe the next 4 years are going to be a challenging time for City Council. We've got some major decisions, and we've been listening carefully to what the citizens want. I believe that I bring relevant experience. I'm a senior leader with Red Deer Public Schools. We have a $125 million budget, 1,200 staff, and we serve 11,000 students and their families. I've been involved as a community builder on Red Deer College, Alberta Health Services, Youth HQ, and the Community Foundation. And I bring diversity, education, and background to that as well. My priorities are that we are open for business. A strong economy creates a strong community. We need a safe and healthy community. One of the biggest issues I'm hearing. We have to work hard at building our community, and City Hall and City Council has to be responsive and responsible.
Thanks, Bruce. Brenda Campbell.
Oh, first of all, I just want to thank you for taking the time to be here and listen. I would be honored to do the same for you, to take whatever time is needed to listen, serve, and support you. I personally think city councilors are overpaid, but more importantly, this is about what you think. The number one concern I'm hearing about is personal safety and, of course, public or private lands and property well-being. We have beautiful trails and parks, but they're marred by needles or sharp waste and other trash. As well, residences and businesses are almost constantly being broken into, it seems. PV Mart was hit 3 times in one day last week alone. Not only does this cost us financially, but emotionally as well. Contact me via email at brenda2020campbell.com anytime, or at gmail.com. Thanks.
Thanks, Brenda. Brenda and Bruce, I think I need you to mute yourself so that you're not on screen. Okay, next to the stage, Calvin Campbell. Calvin, go ahead. Calvin, unmute.
It doesn't look like we have Calvin.
Okay, I'll take him off my list. Next up is Matt Chapin. I hope I pronounced your last name correct, Matt.
Thank you for everybody for this opportunity to speak to you all about what I think is most important for the city. For me, we live in a great city that we all want to help grow. But one thing that I personally want to fight for is trying to fight more with the city relationship with the province to get not just a secondary hospital, but get plan for the regions to get a second and third hospitals for all the citizens of Central Alberta, and also work on the mental health problems we have in the city with crime and homelessness. And I personally will take my own money to hold town halls to hear what you all want to say.
Thanks, Matt. Next up is Craig Curtis. Craig, unmute, please. Oh, there you go.
Good evening. My name is Craig Curtis, and my background is architecture, city planning, and urban design. I came to the city in 1980, and I had a number of exciting projects right off the bat. I designed the master plan for Waskesiu Park, the River Valley Park along the Red Deer River, and I also worked on the initial plans for the Centrium. I also recently had the opportunity to work with the facilities for the 2019 Canada Winter Games. Over the last little while, we've seen a lot of division on City Council, and I hope to be part of the team that picks up some of the pieces that are left over for the new council. In terms of my platform, I'm looking at economic development, homelessness, diversity, and reconciliation.
Thanks, Craig. Your time is up.
Thank you.
Next up, Michael Daw.
Good evening. Am I on?
Yes, you are.
Okay, great. Good evening. My name is Michael Daw, and thank you for this opportunity this evening. I'm a lifelong resident of Red Deer. It's my home. It's the home of my friends, my family, my neighbors, and everyone else. And I've always been committed to making this a better place for all of us to live. I've been very active in my community. In fact, I was even the Citizen of the Year in 2014. But I want to earn your vote to continue on. I was elected in 2017, and I'd like to continue on with the work that involves accountability, strict budget and spending, reducing crime and improving community safety, protecting the environment, and working hard to improve our healthcare situation.
Thank you, Michael. Next up, last person in this category is Victor Dirksen. Victor?
Many will remember me from my days as MLA for Red Deer South. Other significant roles for me include the Red Deer Hospice, other community boards, Executive Director of Care, Director of Finance at ETANA, Small Business and Banking, All that proves is that I'm familiar with multi-billion as well as small dollar organizations. I show up, work hard, collaborate, and make decisions. Clearly, I can do the job, but my impetus and initial focus has to do with the segregation of our society over vaccine mandates. A year ago, we were all in this together, not anymore. No one should fear for their jobs or be excluded from society because of a personal health decision.
Thanks, Victor. Okay, heads up, candidates. We're going to bring you all on screen, and that'll hopefully reduce the lag time calling you up one at a time. So if Kimberly, if you could bring all the candidates up on screen, and then I'll proceed. Okay, so questions for all of the candidates in this round. Sorry, do they all have to unmute their lines, or can they stay muted, Kimberly?
Yeah, they just need to turn their cameras on and stay muted until it's their turn to speak.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're missing one. Oh, there comes Michael. Okay, so this is the first question in this round. You'll just a reminder, you have 45 seconds to answer this particular question. The first question is on economic development. How the candidate intends to retain existing residents and business and their plans to attract new ones to the city of Red Deer. And we're going to go in alphabetical order again. Graham Barkley, you're up.
Economic development is an important subject and one that I take very seriously. While director and VP of the Chamber for over 4 years, I learned a wealth of knowledge. I have already formed a business advisory council that, if elected, will begin this winter. These business leaders will let us know what is hindering our economic progress. We need to listen to the leaders and experts in Red Deer and to change what is wrong. In addition, I want to expand our economic development department, reduce even more red tape, and improve zoning to make us open for business. On a bigger scale, I will work to bring in large and more diverse types of companies. This will take cooperation with Airport, Rail, Cape, and our neighbors, and this has started already. They look forward to working with a new councillor that is innovative. Retaining our RDP graduates will be crucial to our city's growth, and I bring a bold and realistic opportunities that will expand our great city. Thank you.
Next up is Kramer. Go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you. As a business owner myself, I believe that having managed budgets and understanding where economic diversity and accountability can come from, I want to make sure the city is going forward in the right direction. And I've seen it, as some of the mayoral candidates had addressed, that it's been going backwards. And as a business myself, I wouldn't want to plant myself in places like downtown, just because of the fact that the taxes are high. They're too high, and the public safety is an issue. And I know that'll be talked about later. But I want to make sure that the city is moving forward together, and we're encouraging businesses with our zoning. We're encouraging them in tax incentives, and we want to make sure that all businesses are welcome here, and that we can grow jobs, we can grow employment, and we can bring people to this city, and we have people that can experience this place, this wonderful city that we have, in the right direction. Thank you.
Thanks, Kramer. Next up, Bruce.
Well, reputation matters, and Red Deer's had a challenging time attracting business. Ultimately, businesses are going to go where it makes the most sense. And I think one of the challenges that we face is that we haven't necessarily been listening to the issues and challenges that business have. We have to be responsive to those. We need to be service oriented. Red Deer has to be competitive, and clearly in many cases we haven't. I believe that engaging our business community is an important way that we can turn that tide around and make investment realistic and attract investment within our particular community. So I believe it's our reputation. We need to adjust that reputation and prove that we are actually open for business.
Thank you. Next up, Brenda.
So when it comes to economic development, I think tax incentives and relationship building is essential. Just like with safety, it's paramount we turn things around and address our reputation of being difficult to deal with in the business community. If we honor and support or incentivize businesses, it's a win-win, because generally businesses employ residents, and owners themselves often live within our city limits. So our tax base is expanded in this regard. It's better to have higher land and building occupancy at reduced tax rates than places sitting empty with no revenue being generated whatsoever. We've lost enough businesses to gasoline, or should I say Accountant's Alley, that could have and should have been prevented. So let's work together to shop local and support local.
Brenda, interesting point. I've never heard of Gasoline Alley referred to as Accountant's Alley. I'm going to have to check that out because I am a professional accountant. Matt, you're next up.
Okay, for me, there's no correct real solution for this because this has been an issue every election that I've been a part of. But in my start thinking about like a regional business plan to work with other local communities, like with Red Deer County, Lacombe, Innisfil, Sylvan Lake, and all the other areas, so we can overall reap of the, like, if we can get good businesses, we can all reap of the income of it.
Thank you. Craig.
Well, economic development is one of those things that in the past, in the early years, Red Deer didn't have to worry about. Its location took care of that. Now, as in a post-pandemic environment, we're going to have to look at new solutions, innovative ways of both protecting our business community and getting new business. I was thinking in terms of post-pandemic, one of the things that is happening is that more people can live and work in different locations. And perhaps we could attract people from Edmonton and Calgary to actually live in a more affordable community like Red Deer. Also, there have been visions like the high-speed rail between Edmonton and Calgary, and we'll have to fight that we get a stop on that. So overall, we need new strategies for post-pandemic times, and we need to work with the business community to get that.
Thank you. Michael?
Thank you. The best answer to this question, economics. You keep costs under strict control, you watch your spending very carefully, you make yourself competitive, particularly with our neighbors such as Red Deer County. But it also means watching the red tape, breaking it up as much as possible, and thinking out of the box. We had a good example with the Deer Park Fire Station. The person applied to move from the downtown to that location, still in the city of Red Deer. Initially, the decision was made not to allow the move, and he was going to move to Gasoline Alley until the realization of the mistake was made and the rezoning went through and he had a place for his business. Those are the kinds of things we have to wreck.
Thank you. Victor?
Economic development starts with a strong basic infrastructure. You need water and wastewater systems, you need power, transportation corridors, and recreational infrastructure. Add to that a predictable, competitive tax and competitive regulatory regime, and you have the environment that will attract investment. After that, get out of the way and let developers and investors do what they do best. We need to have a hard look at the extent to which the city is in the land development business, especially speed to market. Taxpayers are on the hook for the land development in Timberstone, Capstone, Queens Business Park, and the Echo Industrial Park. Let's not strand our investments.
Thanks, Victor. Okay, second question for this group of councillors, potential councillors. Crime and social disorder. Please outline your strategy to deal with ongoing social issues and how you will make Red Deer a more attractive place to live, work, and play. And again, we're going to go in the same order. Graham, over to you.
Thanks, Ken. As a potential new council member, I'm eager to ask questions to the RCMP and city to audit the stats and plans they have for crime reduction. I know that they are short-staffed with officers and that they are overspending in other areas. I would like to have more peace officers hired to deal with the minor infractions while the RCMP focus on dangerous crimes in our community. I have over 15 years experience collaborating with the downtown agencies. I'm looking forward to implementing successful programs targeted at our homeless population. Agencies want to do better and they need help to achieve the results we all want to see. More affordable housing is needed, and my relationships with builders are in place to get new homes of all sizes built for everyone. Lastly, tourism and new events will happen, and more investment will be here. Let's move Red Deer, move forward and
Thank
together.
you. Kramer, you're up.
Yeah, when it comes to the social issues, especially dealing with homelessness in general, I believe that the homeless need a roof over their head, and I think the city has pushed that off and pushed it to the side, and actually we're saved by the Emergency Act by allowing them to continue to have housing. So I think they need housing, and I believe we can reallocate resources to detox and counseling to help them to not only have a roof over their head, but integrate back into society and get them off the street. And in return, that should help reduce crime. And when it comes to our crime issue, I've had this conversation with a lot of people in the last few weeks. I'd love to see what the cost would be to implement a Red Deer police force. I know at the top of my list, my platform is fiscal responsibility, but I'd love to see what the numbers would be, because I think a police force could make a big difference in reducing crime and helping the city move in the right direction. Thank you.
Thanks, Kramer. Bruce?
You know, quality of life has been one of the biggest assets that our community has had, and we need to continue building that and building that sense of community. But it's interesting, in my discussions with people, crime and safety have been at the top of the list in terms of what their concerns are. We don't really have a plan on addictions and mental health issues and homelessness. We need to come up with a comprehensive plan, but it's essential that our community feel confident in that. Right now, we don't have that level of confidence. And in certain ways, it's changing the narrative. It's people that feel that we are not a safe community, and that is what people are starting to talk about. Red Deer is an amazing community. There are so many great assets that we have. We need to build on that, and we need to take action on the pressing issues we have right now and have that within the first 100 days of council.
Thanks, Bruce. Brenda?
Thank you. Crime and social order are at the forefront of our concerns. These issues have been around for decades, and although a lot of time and money has been spent on improving things, they're really not getting better. It's a priority that we feel safe and can enjoy all aspects of our vibrant city. Our trail system is beautiful, and maintaining it is already understandably costly enough without having to contend with encampments and subsequent cleanup. I totally understand gray areas and that all homeless aren't criminals or drug addicts and so forth, but individuals that trespass on public and private lands and addicts that discard dangerous waste as well as commit other crimes need to be addressed in black and white. Catching and releasing has to stop, and we have to find something that works.
Thank you. Matt?
Okay, for me, I'm glad like a couple of people brought up like health issues. For me, I grew up with a parent who has some diagnosed mental illnesses, and I know how personally how close it could be for me to be homeless or have my parents in crime. I will advocate for get some more help for the people who are homeless and on crime to clean up and get them some more support so they don't repeat being homeless or on the crime system.
Thanks, Matt. Craig?
Well, firstly, it's over 2 years since the province announced a new emergency shelter for Red Deer, and nothing has happened. No site, no building, and no service. In the meantime, as the pandemic struck, we found that there was an increase in homelessness and addictions. And as a result, the temporary shelter was established, and that was well done, but it was only a very basic facility, and the overflow in the downtown has caused a lot of problems. So now at this stage, we really need to get a temporary solution that is ongoing and the new facility built, because it's damaging our economy in the downtown, and you can't have revitalization without fixing the shelter issue. And council has been negligent in doing that.
Thank you. Michael?
Thank you. I think the first and most immediate step you can take in terms of crime is to increase and enhance police presence, particularly with downtown patrols. Secondly, we need to work with the province with their idea of creating youth drug courts. The idea there is you stream the people out of the current the patterns and get them into something in terms of improvement and not just repeating the same catch and release program. Third, we need to create a residential treatment program. There is a site right here. Again, we have to break the cycles and get people on the path of recovery and not just having the continuation of their cycle of addiction and crime.
Thanks, Michael. And last answer in this round of councillors, potential councillors, Victor.
Idleness is the devil's workshop. The first step to reducing crime and social disorder is employment and purpose in life. Easily said, harder to do. Downtown Red Deer is a vexing problem. The concentration of the homeless shelter, the overdose prevention site, and other human services has resulted in increased crime and vandalism. On the other hand, each homeless person, each addict has a name and families who need support. Let's get the homeless shelter built, close the overdose prevention site, integrate service providers, and get past harm reduction to real rehabilitation. Let's focus on getting our walking, biking, and downtown corridors safe and inviting.
Thanks, Victor. Okay, and thanks to the councillors in this round. We will now take a 5-minute break. Waving back at you, Graham. We will now take a 5-minute break so that Kimberly can set the stage for the next group of councillors. So it's now 6:58. Please join me back here at 7:03. Thank you. Well, welcome back, everybody. We're now going to go into the second group of counselors or counselor potentials. And we're again going to do it in 45-second intro, 45-second answer to question 1, and 45-second answer to question 2. For opening comments, I would welcome Grace Engel, please.
Hi, everyone. I just want to thank the Chamber to start with, but as a local single mom, I did come to Red Deer through the Women's Shelter and have worked my way up to becoming a small business owner. I've experienced firsthand the support of the people of Red Deer, and right now, for me, it's time to give back. I'm honest, hardworking, realistic, and dedicated to the people of Red Deer. I believe that Red Deer deserves a council that has the best interests of the local people and the businesses at heart. That's all I got.
Thank you, Grace. Sarah Harkson, please.
Hi there. Thanks again for inviting me tonight. My name is Sarah Harkson. This year I'm running for council to promote change and positive direction. We need new innovations, new faces, new perspectives in our city. As a citizen, I have many concerns over the handling of our homeless, addictions, resources, and lack of support the city has given us. With everything we are fighting a COVID pandemic on top of it all. I promote shopping locally and giving support back to our community. I also believe that staying community connected is important. That means talking with your neighbor, talking to the people in the community, etc. Taking the time out of your day to get to know everyone. On my platform, I want to push for a municipal police force, more transitional housing, support to our businesses, and start bringing revenue into our community. The city of Red Deer has so much to offer, but it's never properly promoted. If elected, I'll push for the rights and fairness of all.
Thank you, Sarah. Your time's up.
Thanks.
We're going to move on to Vensa Higham. Now, if I've mispronounced your name, please correct me. Vensa?
I'm a retired lawyer, appeal board adjudicator, and high school basketball referee for nearly 2 decades now. My husband and I raised our 5 children in Red Deer over the past 27 years, and we're now proud new grandparents to 2 precious babies. I do understand the challenges families face in these uncertain times and would continue to be a strong family-focused voice at the council table. It's been my distinct honor to serve our community on council now for 7 years over 2 terms, and I don't take that for granted. I study diligently, I ask penetrating questions, and work hard to represent our city with dignity and honor. I stand for family values, fiscal restraint, a business-friendly environment, a strong focus on community safety, and a citizen-focused approach. Thank you.
Thank you. And my apologies, Vesna. I think I mispronounced you. I'm sorry.
No problem. Thanks.
Okay, so we're going to move on to Hans Husing, please.
Pretty close, Ken. Housing. Yeah, it looks weird. I know.
I should have known that.
Yeah, it's one of the things we're talking about tonight, isn't it? Hi, I'm Hans Housing. I have lived within the city of Red Deer since I was 4 years old when my family chose to come here. My father was a small business owner, and we have been very much integrated into the roots of this city. I moved away for university and returned to teach at Hunting Hills High School. I'm currently a school administrator at Escuela Vista Grande, the Spanish bilingual program here in the city. I am a community builder. If you believe that Red Deer is on the cusp of something great, I would like you to vote for me. I truly see that our city is going to grow in the next year, in the next 5 years, the next 10 years, and I really want to be a part of that particular growth. I truly believe that this city has potential to be the best city in economically and socially in the province of Alberta. Let's make it happen.
Thank you, Hans. Now we'll move over to Cindy Jeffries.
Hello.
Hi.
Can I start anytime?
You can.
Okay, thank you. Red Deer has been my home for most of my life. My late husband, Dan, and I chose to come back to Red Deer in 1991. I am mom to 3 sons. Having served on council from 2004 to 2013, I bring experience with a somewhat refreshing perspective. I want Red Deer to be a city with opportunities and a place where people belong and want to be. My priorities are tackle the social issues, energize and revitalize our downtown, economic development, business retention and attraction, and advocacy. We need to stand up for our city, and we must work together.
Thank you, Cindy. Next up is Sadia Khan. Sadia, please make sure your camera's on. That may be preventing you from coming to the stage.
Yes, it is on. Hi, everyone. My name is Sadia Khan. My pronouns are she and her. As an immigrant settler to this land, I would like to honor and acknowledge Treaty 7 and Treaty 6 regions. This moment is a call to action for practical decisions making point of view leadership to guide and position Red Deer for success. My platform focuses on revitalization, youth engagement, and community prosperity. Top priority for me is listening to the people in our community, respecting their priorities and recognizing their capabilities. This is time for change, and it means responding to the needs of Red Deerians, and that's why I'm running to be your city councillor. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sadia. Next up is Chad Cron.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chad Cron. I'm excited to be here today. I'm proud to be a community builder in Red Deer. I'm the president of my community association, and we have 5 little kids at home. A big part of my campaign is asking people, what's the next simple thing we can do to make the city better? This is how we find smart, bottom-up change. In the midst of time when government has affected our lives way more than it has in a generation, we need to be asking people, what's the next simple thing we can do in your neighborhood to make it better? What's the next simple thing we can do to be interacting with businesses better? And what's the next simple thing, the frontline staff, I want to ask them, what's the next simple thing they can do to do their jobs better and more efficiently? And that's why I'm running to be for Red Deer City Council.
Thanks, Chad. Next up is Ryan Lalage.
Hi, my name is Ryan Lalage, candidate for City Council. I've been here almost 10 years now. I offer a different perspective on local issues that matter to residents who are wanting real change, not just endless talk. Like many in our community, my work has primarily been out of town for the last couple of years. I've never ran for public office before, and I have worked in construction, oil pipelines, railway maintenance, welding, pipe fitting, and other related trades. I have 2 young children at the house along with my wife. My primary concern is property taxes and business taxes being too expensive. We do not need to mimic Edmonton or Calgary, and we need to make sure that we do all the small things right. That way we'll start moving everything forward and hopefully make it a better place to be.
Thanks, Ryan. Next up is Lawrence Lee.
Good evening. Thank you to each and every one of you attending and for taking your valuable time to find out more about who you think will do and make a difference in creating a better city for us all. My wife, Betty, 2 daughters, and I are raised Red Deerians. With my experience as a second-term city councillor, I will advance your concerns and fight for you. How to get things done at a table of differing opinions is what I do best. For me, better is not winning or losing. Better is simply better. I believe in the spirit of Red Deer in dealing with challenges together. Please visit my website, llee.ca, to read my platform in detail, and I humbly ask for your support in this election by voting Lawrence Lee.
Thanks, Lawrence. And now we'll just get our behind-the-scenes guru to bring everybody up on the screen, and then we'll proceed with the first question for all of them.
Turn their camera and their mic on to rejoin page. Thank you.
One, two, three, 6, 7. I think we're missing 2 people. Bear with me while I check my list. Sarah, are you coming back on? You need to, there we go.
I'm here.
Okay, cool. Cindy, Sadia, Chad, and Ryan. All right, the gang's all here. We're going to start off with the first question. And you guys are at a little bit of an advantage because if you were here earlier, you actually heard the questions. But I'm going to repeat them for you. And just a reminder, you got 45 seconds to answer. First question is on economic development. How the candidates intends to retain existing residents and business and their plans to attract new ones to the city of Red Deer. And we're going to go in alphabetical order again. So Grace, you're first up. Did we lose Grace? Okay, I'll come back to Grace if I see her rejoin. Sarah, go ahead.
As a city, we need to promote our small businesses. Our small businesses are the heart of the community. So most importantly, we need to keep them in the city. In order for this to happen, we need to start offering initiatives such as grants, lower startup fees, lower taxes, anything like that to bring it back into our city. As a city, we also need to start promoting provincially and nationally. Red Deer has a lot to offer, but if you do not promote, we cannot have people come in. So like a business owner, or even a family and stuff like that, you want to start promoting what we can offer them in long term. Also, I'd like to talk about our zoning. Our zoning has issues in our city. Start business to come in. Other than that, at the end of the day, we can speculate.
Thank you. There's that.
I'll begin with how to attract new development. First, it's critical to foster a more business-friendly environment at City Hall to make it easier for business to connect and progress. Second, we need proactive strategies, including things like economic incentives, reasonable development approvals, appropriate tax breaks, and other regulatory levers to support business in dealing with ongoing COVID impacts. And to retain existing development, addressing our crime and social disorder impacts is the first step. And finally, council itself needs to be flexible and business-oriented. The clearest example of this was the inordinate struggles we had around the Old Deer Park Fire Hall, which almost drove that existing business out to the county. So council has to play.
Thank you. Hans?
I appreciate that most of the comments tonight are very similar to each other. I took a look at some of the things that were going on within the city, and I asked people to come and have a chat with me. And as a teacher, I love learning things. One of the things I think in terms of economic development that we have not even discussed this evening is the fact that Red Deer lags behind many other communities in terms of its 5G connectivity. If you look at all the things that businesses do in terms of that connectivity and how it can actually impact almost every layer of our city, we need to really make sure that particular infrastructure is much more robust than it currently is. We can discuss all these different things, but unless we come together around a table, and I really do believe that I am that individual that can get those different diverse groups together to actually talk to each other, create consensus, and more importantly, create action.
Okay, thank you. Cindy?
Thank you very much. One of the reasons I decided to run in this election is out of concern for our city. I see businesses leaving and I see opportunities being left on the table by our city. In my view, we need to be thinking about Red Deer's future. How can we best position Red Deer to attract investment and business development? Where will good employment opportunities and job growth come from? I believe we can do a better job of retaining and attracting residents and businesses by simplifying our processes. Our downtown needs a boost. We may need to consider incentives to get things started. I want us to throw open the doors and welcome people and businesses to Red Deer. Economic development is successful when we are strategic. We must reach out, build relationships, and invite innovation. We can help people see the opportunities here.
Thank you. Sadia?
Thank you. I plan to provide strategic leadership with revitalization efforts to revive the underutilized properties, making it easier to get through the red tape at City Hall in order to get the permits and the zoning that's needed, really ensuring that the residents have access to the priority and amenities like the Aquatic Center, creating places for connections and to foster an ecosystem of entrepreneurship, such as public gathering spaces, multi-purpose buildings, green spaces, really strengthening the business-friendly environment to help revitalize vacant storefronts and support struggling businesses that we have right now. I would love to plan public events regularly to showcase downtown businesses and the entertainment.
Thank you. Chad?
It's no secret that Gasoline Alley has really blossomed in the last 8 years. And I look at this as what City Council has done is let businesses go. And it seems like there isn't a political will to fight through what the bylaws are and to look at those unintended consequences. And too often we say, oh, this is the way we've always done it. But it's becoming really obvious, even to everyone here, that the status quo isn't working. So a big part of my plan is find ways to seek to say yes to innovators and investors, to change our reputation of a place in a city hall that likes to say no. I also want to find ways to link economic development with community development, as these things are interlinked, and small businesses are the backbone of our society and our city.
Thanks, Chad. Ryan?
I forgot where the mic button was. My plans are to work with the new council to focus on the bigger issues of businesses and employment here, which include crime and social disorder, as well as the level of property taxes to both business and individuals. Relocating businesses to Gasoline Alley is not an economic development, nor can we be all things to all people in municipal plan. We need to be very good at what we are and not try to mimic Edmonton or Calgary. We can accept less of some services if the core services are at the level needed, including policing, security, homelessness, and addiction resolution services.
Thanks, Ryan. Grace, I'm glad to see you got back. Did you want me to repeat that question for you? Or do you remember?
Is this the one about economic development, retaining and bringing in new businesses?
You bet. You've got 45 seconds. Did you go ahead?
All right. I believe that we need to have more incentives, for example, tax breaks. We need to change the zoning and permitting protocols that we're going through right now. And we also need economic diversification grants, higher employment rates, local economy with a higher employment rate will already encourage the new businesses to come and also the current businesses to stay, because there'll be more money being spent within our own community.
Great. Thanks, Grace. Lawrence?
Thank you. Really, we have to change the narrative. Businesses don't mind paying taxes if they're making money. The key to business is making it simple. Having grown up in an entrepreneurial family and owning a small business, much of my focus will be in retaining businesses while bringing new investments and jobs to the city. Making this process easy is key. That is why I've been working to have a common resource point for those wanting information on how to start out. The experience must be customer service friendly. Review the business plan, assist in the application process, provide real-time progress, and occur as quickly as possible. Innovation is a collaborative effort, and creating a business accelerator will contribute to a more vibrant business environment overall.
Thanks, Lawrence. We're going to move on to the second question. This one deals with crime and social disorder. Please outline your strategy to deal with ongoing social issues and how you'll make Red Deer a more attractive place to live, work, and play. And Grace, we're going to put you on the spotlight again. So you got 45 seconds.
Thank you, Ken. I think that with crime and social disorder, we need to combine the forces and funds as far as our police are concerned, and also have greater visual on them and having them around more often. We need rehabilitation instead of our safe injection site, greater availability also of our mental health care opportunities so that we can collectively succeed as a whole.
Thank you. Sarah?
At the beginning of my campaign, I had stated I wanted to push for a municipal police force, and I have researched and called municipalities throughout Alberta and British Columbia. As this is a process, I'd like to start budgeting through our provincial government and federal government for funds for police on the foot in the areas that have high crime, and we need to start pushing our governments for stiffer penalties so that the process of a repeat offender is stopped. I work in the marginalized communities. I see that GABS detox is right beside the safe injection site. It defeats the purpose of getting a sobriety. I think we need to look at the zoning again, especially in that area. That area seems to have high crime, and we need to start establishing something in that.
Thank you. Vesna?
Very much. I'll begin by saying that the current status quo is completely untenable, and here are my strategies. First, we have to get the existing shelter and OPS out of the. Second, we need to consolidate as many social services as possible on a permanent shelter site to stop the mitigation of people in town. Third, we have to insist on a strictly monitored good neighbor operating model for the new shelter services. Fourth, we must get our 2 drug treatment centers operational. And finally, we have to stop the catch and release failure that criminals frankly laugh about. We need stronger enforcement for those well-known frequent flyers, and the proposed dedicated drug court will help with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Hans?
We're talking about a lot of different issues here. We know that addiction, homelessness, policing, and mental health are all very closely linked to each other, and there's a severe lack of services, but the services need to be in the spot where the people are. I would call upon AHS and the city to advocate for a mental health triage unit at our hospital. I would call upon our social diversion team to actually be expanded so that it would actually be an ambulance that could go to calls, and that 211 be expanded in that regard too. We all need to come around the table. We all have a piece to play in this. We can no longer play this game all by ourselves. And I really feel that I am the individual who could bring everyone around the table to talk to each other and come up with viable and effective solutions for this.
Thank you. Cindy?
Like most cities, Red Deer is challenged by social issues. The opioid epidemic and COVID-19 have made the situation much worse. People in our community are struggling. Mental health, alcohol and drug addiction, homelessness, prostitution, drug dealing, and crime take a toll on our citizens, businesses, and community. For far too long, we have waited for action from the provincial government because we believe social problems are a provincial issue. Well, the way I see it, when businesses begin to leave, when people don't want to be here, it is a problem for our city. It is our job to advocate for those services and make sure the necessary services are available for citizens. We need permanent shelter, treatment centers, temporary and permanent supportive housing. Most importantly, we need to work together.
Thank you. Sadia?
Yeah, it's vital that we look at the terms used as social disorder are clarified, when there is constant fear and ideas that are not always shaped by direct experience, but rather influenced. This matters. The direct and the indirect encounters have a profound impact on the kind of solutions to advocate for and support. So my strategy would be to look at the viable mitigation strategies together with all of the stakeholders to create an environment we can all live safely, really creating those communities where all visitors and residents enjoy a sense of belonging, and where it adds diversity to all of the social and economic vibrancy of our community.
Thank you. Chad?
2 years ago, the province announced funding for an integrated permanent homeless shelter, which the city has been advocating for a long time. We're currently nowhere on that project, as far as I know, and the province has said that it would be done already if city council hadn't gotten in the way. And yet, these delays hurt everyone the shelter is designed to help. I also want to look for the next simple thing we can do for our police force to help them. I think there's technology we can invest in, like GPS tracking ankle bracelets for convicted criminals, and traffic cameras that can read license plates for stolen cars. But I also think there's an element to making sure people know their neighbors, are involved in their communities, and watch out for one another. And that's how we build a strong city. It's by looking for bottom-up change together.
Thank you. Ryan?
My plans are to work with the new city council on direct measurable improvements in our downtown social challenges with multiple initiatives related to addiction recovery, policing, housing, and the costs the current situation puts our city in. This includes the use best practices from other cities, accepting initiatives on pragmatic basis. The pretty city concept is not resolving this, and we can do better with a better playbook, such as panel recommendations rather than consultants. We have been trapped in a conflict of rights, and we need to set a process that is leadership and not accepted as status quo. Crime needs to go down to become welcoming and permit growth within the city.
Thank you. And the final person to have the last answer on this is Lawrence. Lawrence, go ahead.
As a community builder, the next practical step is to construct an integrated permanent shelter. The facility has to provide not only shelter space, but be designed to provide food service, addictions and mental health counseling, primary health care, and transition users to permanent housing. I look at the success of the Canadian Mental Health is having with the Amethyst House located just below the hospital, where we don't see a lot of issues or complaints by the surrounding residents or businesses. With respect to policing, we have to do this more smarter, using analytics and pinpoint to see where we can make the best improvements in crime is the solution that we all need to address. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and thanks to this group of candidates, we're going to take another 5-minute break so that we can reset the stage for the next group of candidates. So it is now 7:30. We'll be back at 7:35 p.m. Thank you. Well, welcome back, everybody. I'm not sure if you appreciate the bathroom breaks as much as I do, but back when we actually got together and had forums that you would be up on the stage for 2 hours, I find this is a heck of a lot more convenient, although it's probably not our choice of where we'd actually rather be tonight, rather in person. Okay, so we're going to move on to councillors group number 3. And the first person I have on my list is Nikki Libbyard. Nikki, please go ahead.
Hi, Ken. I don't see Nikki. There are a couple of Nicoles on the list. So if Nicole is Nikki, please message me.
Okay, so Nikki's not here. Okay, we'll move on to Jason McDonald. Jason? Okay, so I'm guessing Jason's not here. And next up, I have Sheyi Olubowale. Sheyi, please. Oh, I got Jason back. Okay, I'll get to you in a minute, Sheyi. Jason, go ahead. You have 45 seconds.
Thank you to the chamber. My name is Jason McDonald, and I've been a resident of Red Deer for 22 years. My wife Kelly and I have raised 4 children here, and I know firsthand the issues that need to be addressed in our city. I've been a business owner for 14 years, 12 of those years in the downtown. Red Deer City Council needs a voice from someone who has a common sense approach and a strong work ethic committed to getting results and getting the job done. I want to put the priority back on service to the citizens and service to the businesses. I want to help transform Red Deer back into a safe and thriving community that it once was. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Sheyi Olubowale. Kimberly, are we having trouble getting Sheyi on?
It's just a bit
Oh, there we go.
connection. But I'm on now, totally. Hi, everyone. I'm Sheyi Olubowale by name. I'm a physiotherapist here in town, and I've been a physiotherapist for so long, 21 years now. Also, I've been in Red Deer for straight on since 2015 with my family. I'm married, I'm a son, I'm a neighbor, I'm a dad, and I'm a son. I've operated here for that long, and I've owned and operated Allied Health Street Clinic downtown. I've worked with seniors for 6 years now. I want to bring to council social togetherness. That's what I bring to this city, and I want to see this city move forward economically and otherwise. So I'm happy to be here today. That's all I've got for now.
Great, thank you. Next up is Harish Ratra.
Hello, I am Harish Ratra, running for City Council, living in Red Deer for the last 11 years and in Canada for the last 23 years. I have a small family, my wife and 2 kids, and all love Red Deer. Last 14 years, I worked as an accountant and warehouse manager in oil field industry. I have university degree in business, and I believe my accounting and business management skill will serve Red Deerians in balancing the budget between services and tax burden. My priorities for the positions are economic growth with employment generation, crime reduction, youth empowerment. Being an active community member, I want to create stronger community and a stronger Red Deer by being the voice of our people. Thank you. Vote for me.
Thank you. Next up is Jancy Summer.
Hi, friends. Thanks, Ken. My name is Janice Summer, and I am your candidate for Red Deer City Council. Having spent the last 3 years working in crime prevention, working in an office downtown, and over the course of my campaign these last 9 months, I've spoken to many of you, and I have heard your concerns. I'm passionate about community safety, about community building, and I believe I will bring a unique crime prevention perspective to council. Like you, as an engaged citizen, I want to live in a city that is thriving and safe. And to accomplish this, I believe we need stronger neighborhoods, a stronger downtown, economic growth, and increased tourism. Vote for Janice Summer and let's build a stronger Red Deer together.
Thank you, Janice. And I'm sorry, Janice. I had it on my list for some reason as Jancy. My apologies. Okay, I'm going to go on to Lisa Spencer Cook, please.
Hi, my name is Lisa Spencer Cook, pronouns she, her. Until March 2020, I owned and operated LV's Vinyl Cafe, which was downtown on Ross Street. I'm a parent to an 8-year-old daughter who is my greatest joy in life, and she also happens to be autistic and have ADHD, which has led me to my advocacy work in the neurodiverse, the disabled, and the LGBTQIA2S+ communities. My primary priorities include the opioid epidemic, homeless crisis, improving the heart of our city downtown, supporting visual and performing arts, advocating access to mental and physical health facilities, and environmental consciousness.
Thank you. Let's try one more time for Nicole Lydiard. Nicole, are you there? We'll get to you in a minute, Dax.
Yep.
Nicole Lydiard, are you there?
Thank you.
There we are.
Can
Go
you hear
ahead,
me?
Nicole.
Can you hear me? Yeah,
Yep.
my name is Nicole Lydiard. I'm a mom, I have an aging parent, and I am a nurse manager, and I believe in the collective well-being. Let's build a vibrant, opportunity-focused city in which everyone has the chance to thrive. What does that mean? Providing certainty and predictability for investors, ensuring equity and access for all, addressing social and economic disparity. I want to be a part of building a healthy community in which encourages aging in place, innovation, and growth. And to me, this is collective, collaborative partnerships, and ultimately the voice of your community. Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole. And you get bonus points for your background.
Thank you.
That's
I'm
the most
at
innovative
gymnastics.
background to me. Right. We'll bring you back in just a minute for the group questions. Dax, thank you for waiting. Dax Williams, go ahead.
Hello, Red Deer. My name is Dax Williams. I'm a 20-year resident of Red Deer, a business owner and a father. I've decided to run for City Council in this 2021 municipal election because I genuinely believe that Red Deer needs a fresh perspective on leadership in council. Our next leadership team needs a long-term vision and to take an honest look at where we are on that road. Those conversations, once had, after those conversations are had, our council needs to be prepared to be resolute in their decisions for steps forward. As council for the city, I intend to lead from the front in improving our homelessness and addictions crisis, making sound decisions in land and economic development, as well as improving city revenues through innovative income solutions.
I would think after 18 months, I would learn to unmute my microphone, but apparently not. Diane Weincheese, go ahead.
Very good. Hello, Red Deer. As a current councillor, I bring experience and leadership to the council table. I do my homework for council and committee meetings. I ask probing questions. I work well with others. I'm responsive to inquiries and available to meet with citizens. Community priorities that I see to advance with all of council include respect for our tax dollars and affordability for Red Deer, continued attention to safety and policing, the provincial shelter, addictions and opioid attention and other advocacy matters such as Red Deer Hospital, mental health throughout the community, the environmental lens to the decisions, city growth, zoning, regional relationships, community building, economic development, looking after city assets and the city's financial management plan, and arts and culture. I ask and thank you for your support, Red Deer, as the next council faces these many challenges.
Thank you. And our organizers are going to get all the candidates back up on screen, and then we'll go with the first question.
All right, everybody, just turn your cameras and your mics back on to rejoin the page.
Okay, I think still, on my count, we're still missing somebody. Jason. No. Harish, are you coming back on? Okay, if I see him pop up, I'll bring him back into the comments. All right, so first question is on economic development. How does the candidate intend to retain existing residents and business and their plans to attract new ones to the city of Red Deer? And Nicole, I'm going to start off with you.
Okay. So for me, it's improving the community experience. Of the influx of families from larger centers to smaller centers, such as ours, but where have they gone? We need to collaborate with the college to retain our talent. I agree with some of my fellow candidates. We need to attract business through incentivizing, reducing taxes, but ultimately, we need to make this a place where people really want to live and work and stay. We are the hub of Alberta.
Okay, thank you. Jason?
Thank you. Local businesses are leaving our city and relocating to places where it's easier to conduct business. We've talked about this a lot tonight. I believe that growth comes from within. To support this growth, we need to supply our community and our businesses with a municipal framework that is built to succeed. I plan to do this by revamping land use bylaws, allowing and encouraging more diversity in developments, looking at less restrictive regulations, and speeding up licensing and approvals.
Thank you. Shay?
Hello again, everyone. My basic and the most important to me is building relationships. And that might sound a bit cheesy, but it's not. There's a lot we can do as a city in bringing people together. City and businesses, city and agencies, anti-vax, pro-vax, BLM, ALM was so divided. A city that is divided cannot stand. There's no way we can move forward if we are this separated in ideologies and we can't find common ground. I want to be that counselor that will be your joy counselor, that will bring people together. I mean, seeing a face like mine already welcomes a group of people. So that's my thought on this. I can go on and on, but most has been said that I would like to say tonight.
You could go on and on, Shay, but you know what? I wouldn't let you because your time's up. So thank you for recognizing
And that's okay.
Okay, Harish, are you back on the call? Doesn't appear so. Okay, so I will move on to Janice.
It's Janice. It's okay. So every relocation decision, be it a family or a business, is made with an image of place in mind. That image is powerful and it's physical. It's a picture of buildings, streets, cafes, and the feelings and the social life that are associated with those places. Whether good or bad, that image is hard to shake. And with rare exception, that image is downtown. Every city's reputation is largely based on the downtown. If the downtown doesn't look good, the city doesn't look good. People don't want to move here, and it's much harder for citizens to feel good about the place they've chosen to live. A beautiful and vibrant downtown can be the rising tide that lifts all ships. I really care about revitalizing our downtown.
Great. Thanks you, Janice.
Thank you.
I promise the next question, I'll get it right. My apologies again. Lisa, you're up. You're on mute, Lisa.
We can't attract new business to the city until we first make certain that we are doing everything we can to retain our existing businesses. Locally owned businesses are our greatest asset, and we have to assess industry clusters and work with them alongside pre-existing organizations, including the Chamber of Commerce, Arts Council, DBA, to act on their needs immediately and create the infrastructures needed for them to thrive. We have to identify support and initiatives based on business sector needs and engage local institutions to boost local purchasing.
Thank you. Dax?
City Hall needs to assume a service mindset and abandon the current competition mentality that they have. City Hall and city services need to operate as business accelerators by way of reduction of red tape in their procedure and arbitrary refusal by council. Red Deer needs to incentivize businesses, both new businesses and existent business, by way of fee forgiveness and reductions, as well as tax rate reductions. Our infrastructure does need to be revamped in regard to communications in the tech sector. Our current internet connectivity rates specifically need to be improved and upgraded in 5G and fiber optics.
Thank you. Diane?
Well, there's certainly lots of competition for businesses throughout Alberta these days. So it's important that we know our competition, we know our strengths, we know our weaknesses. And you know what? Let's all share in the part of the stage of promoting Red Deer. The narrative we talk about our city is very important. I think about filling niches where in segments where we can expand in Red Deer, such as, you know, the agriculture, energy, new opportunities. I think about the statistic that 80% of local businesses and 20% of new businesses. So let's support our current businesses, such as been talked about, such as incentives. The whole conversation about regional relationships is also important, because when regional wins, Red Deer wins as well. And again, we all share that narrative, and let's promote Red Deer to be a better city.
Thank you. We're going to move on to the last question for the evening. Again, it's on crime and disorder. Please outline your strategy to deal with ongoing social issues and how you will make Red Deer a more attractive place to live, work, and play. Again, I'm going to go back for the first answer to Nicole.
Okay. Dangerous crimes are present, high, and increasing in our community. Having police presence downtown is having a positive impact. Let's work on aspects that are under our control. Support the vulnerable youth, be present, foster a civic culture to reduce violence and crime by fostering hotspots, better urban planning. Everyone's civic duty is to get involved. Homelessness is not just housing, it's systemic, right? It's one of the first steps. But we need to be part of the continuum of care and support. We need to encourage, collaborate, and develop our community networks. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Jason?
My solution for crime in the city is a simple one. We need to get tough on the criminal element that is freely operating within our city and primarily in the downtown. Yes, we need to be compassionate to the needs of the homeless and the mentally ill, but we need to shine a light on the criminal predators who are currently operating and exploiting this demographic in the downtown. They are committing crimes with little to no repercussions. We can no longer turn a blind eye to this while the problem continues to grow. Resources need to be allocated to fight this problem immediately.
Thank you. Shay?
Much of what has been said tonight is common sense. A lot of what we need to move forward is right here in this room. If we're going to move forward, there's one more thing we are lacking, and that is perspective, a different perspective. A different perspective because we need people who would think outside of the box, who were not particularly raised up in this community, and who bring other perspective in. For instance, we've been here for a while now. There's been no mention of the words like vulnerable population. We miss land acknowledgement. Those are things that other people will see. We need to have people like us, and when I say us, recent immigrants, relatively recent immigrants to Canada, who can bring such perspective onto the board. And we can move forward that way.
Thank you. I'm going to check one last time to see if Harish managed to get back in. I'm guessing not, because he's not on my screen. Okay, so I'll move on to Janice.
Most of our crime and social disorder is rooted in addiction. Most addiction is rooted in trauma. We need to return to identifying and addressing at-risk kids. And we need to stop enabling addiction. Harm reduction removes the responsibility from the individual and puts it onto the community. We need to focus on services and solutions that don't just save lives, although that's a good thing, but actually help people move to a healthier place in their lives. I'd like to see us advocating for good neighbor agreements with social agencies to help hold them accountable to be good neighbors to the businesses and residents around them, and to support them doing that. We need to double or triple the size of our social diversion team. There are a lot more things we can do to make a difference.
Thank you. Lisa?
Hi. One of my primary platforms is the drug epidemic and homeless crisis. A society's success lies in how we treat the most vulnerable among us, and we have much work for improvement ahead of us in this area. We need to stop sitting on the money that we have to build a homeless shelter and just build it. We need better, more equitable mental health services, and not just a safe consumption site, but also a treatment facility. As a former downtown business owner, I was a victim of crime, theft, and vandalism, and I know that everything starts with action in this area. We must work with those on the front lines and do better. The more we put into the area with pedestrian traffic, the safer it becomes.
Thank you. Dax?
Firstly, I believe Red Deer needs to move on the emergency shelter immediately, get shovels in the ground and get that happening. We need to move forward from that with temporary and low-income housing solutions. We need to sort that and then move forward and deal with the fact that there are no further steps after our safe consumption site currently. There's no addictions treatment centers, and we need to make that accessible. We need to increase market share and normalize assistance, increase market share amongst our homeless population, instead of continually treating them as though they belong somewhere else, because this is where we are and they are here and they are part of this community, whether people accept that or like that or not. We need to move beyond othering people.
Thank you. Diane?
Yes, certainly moving to the shelter and ensuring that the province is listening to Red Deer as we go about the next steps. That's a very important work for the next council. Second point I want to talk about is the importance of all community having eyes and ears on the streets and reporting crime. That's important. Third, let's look to the root causes. The city has a system leadership team that has a variety of individuals from health, justice, education, Alberta government representatives, agencies, urban Aboriginal voices. It's community working together that helps us advance with the challenges. The next piece is the importance of a social enterprise, helping the vulnerable find ways to be able to feel part of and connected to the community. And the last point is ensuring that the right services to the right people at the right time, and ensuring that we advocate for stronger measures for criminal justice.
Thank you. I've got a few comments. Do not leave, okay, because there's more. I will get to that in just a minute. With that teaser, I will go back and I will check with Kimberly to see if Ken Johnson is back online.
Harish is back as well.
That Harish did make it back onto stage.
Okay, I'll get to him in just a minute. But is Ken Johnson back on? Do we know?
Ken is in the building. Let me just give him a stage invite.
Just a minute. I'm going to go to Harish. With Harish, you didn't get a chance to answer either of those two questions, correct? Go off mute, please. Unmute your line. Okay, so I'm imagining you didn't hear either of the two questions. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so the first question, you'll have 45 seconds to answer. It's on economic development. How does the candidate intend to retain existing residents and businesses and their plans to attract new ones for the city of Red Deer? Go ahead, Harish.
I believe strong economy is the key for the strong and healthy community. As the oil field industry has frequent ups and downs, Red Deer needs to be diversified into new trades like supply chain and technology. Red Deer is in the middle of Alberta's population map and would have advantage of economically controlling the distribution channels from Red Deer to control Alberta at one point. This fact can be marketed to companies to bring more businesses. Moreover, with distribution warehouses, transportation sector will come itself to the Red Deer. This economic step will generate employment opportunity for the city of residents. Economic circle will speed up to help local small and medium business, including downtown. Thank you.
Thank you. And the second question is on crime and social disorder. Please outline your strategy to deal with ongoing social issues and how you will make Red Deer a more attractive place to live, work, and play.
The current crime rate data for the Red Deer is not showing encouraging image of the city. Not to be taken lightly, this issue, This is very serious concern as impacting the image of Red Deerians when contacting other part of Canada on business opportunity or building relations. Also, we currently face social issues like mental health, addiction, and treatment. I would voice this concern on priority by analyzing the data to step up action plan to concerned department with regular follow-up until improvements on crime image of the city and bring about improvement on social disorder. I have decided to run the City of Council vision to have a Red Deer as a progressive, healthy, and crime-free city.
Thanks, Harish. Thanks to the candidates for council. I'll go back to Kimberly to see if we can get Ken Johnson on the screen. Fingers crossed, everybody. Anybody got
Ken,
any
you
good
should have
Facebook?
just received an invite to stage. Do you see the cam on, mic on icons at the bottom of your stage?
I see his camera and
I
see
do.
his mic is on. Hey, Ken, welcome.
You know, Ken, I've had a religious experience this evening. I will say that. I doubted there was a God, but now I am fully resolved on that point.
Perfect. If only Facebook could resolve their issues just as best. Okay,
Well,
so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take moderator's prerogative. Okay.
Of course.
You got 90. You had 90 seconds for your opening statement.
Yes.
You would have had 60 seconds for your closing.
Yes.
So I'm going to give you 2 minutes and 30 seconds to basically tell us whatever you want to tell us.
Well, I'll just start, first of all, Ken, by saying how grateful I am to be able to speak tonight. You know, I've been in Red Deer since 1996 and connected right across the community in numerous boards and many, many endeavors, 2 terms on council. I'm running for mayor because I think I can make a difference with my collaborative and relational skills in bringing various groups of people to the table. And what I mean by that, first of all, is the business community. The business community needs an ambassador in the mayor. The business community needs to know that the mayor is someone that will promote their interests and promote the city of Red Deer generally. As it relates to our partners in economic development, we have numerous visions and plenty of private capital in our city. And it's really, I think, the mayor's function to be able to network with that and bring that to the table. I'm talking about Red Deer Polytechnic. I'm talking about the energy sector. I'm talking about agribusiness. I'm talking about our friends at the chamber. So that is very, very important to me as well. I have an 8-point platform, Safe Communities, which talks about environment, which talks about the rejuvenation of downtown. Those are primary topics for me, and I really want to see those go. And particularly in the downtown, I know there were questions on that tonight. 2 points on the downtown: a collaborative approach to the social ills we have down there. Provincial support is needed on that shelter. But the bigger picture, and the one we can control, is changing the narrative of downtown and making that a more attractive and more vibrant place. More residential attraction, more events, more use of the arts, more use of many, many of the cultural groups that we have in our city. There are so many voices in our cultural fabric that want to be heard, that want to get plugged in. I'll be a mayor that continues to do that. So Ken, if you have any other questions, I'd be glad to take them. I heard some of the responses tonight. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able or possibly not able to respond to those, but I'm grateful, as I said, for being able to get back on. And it's great to be with you this evening. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Ken. And you gave me a great segue before I wrap this all up. Just a reminder to everybody on the call, you have the opportunity to get into a table conversation with the candidates until 8:30 p.m. You will see the map of the venue come back up again. The mayoral candidates are on floor number 2. And the council candidates will be on floor 3 and 4. So mayor's candidates will be on floor number 2. Council candidates will be on floors 3 and 4. And here's your opportunity to have some one-on-one time with your candidate. I got to say thank you to the Red Deer Chamber of Commerce for inviting me back. I, again, under unfortunate circumstances, Pray that the next time we have any type of election, that we'll be able to hold a forum in person. And I got to say personal comments to those candidates that are putting themselves out there. I spent 20 years on municipal council in the town of Beaumont, 4 terms as mayor. And I much rather be on this side of the table asking the questions than on your side of the table answering the questions. And I'd like to also thank everybody for their cooperation on staying on time. And big shout out to Kimberly from Creative Twist Inc., who was our technical support and guru tonight. And also to the Red Deer Chamber of Commerce. They pivoted on this very rapidly, as businesses have had to pivot regularly over the last 18 months. So shout out to Red Deer Chamber of Commerce. And here's an inside joke for them. You have always been my favorite chamber. Good night. Sure, everybody gets out and votes. You have advanced polls that are coming up the end of this week. And obviously you have election day on the 18th of October. So good luck to everybody and good night.